family demands I attend every event. My attendance isn't mandatory, and my absence is my final answer now. My aunt's fingers clamp around my forearm like I'm a runaway shopping trolley, and she's the only thing stopping me from rolling into traffic. "Don't you walk out," she hisses, smiling wide, because there are people watching. The community hall is packed. Plastic chairs, balloon arch, someone's toddler shrieking into a microphone. And every head in a 10-foot radius turns in that slow, hungry way families turn when they smell a scene. I can feel the heat rise up my neck. My car keys are already in my hand. My bag is on my shoulder. I'm halfway to the door, and somehow I'm still being pulled back like I'm 12. "Let go," I say low because my voice has this weird tremble in it, and I hate that they can always pull that out of me. My aunt's nails dig in harder. "Your mother is crying," she says, like that's a legal document. "You're embarrassing her." On cue, I hear my mom's voice behind us, sharp, inhaling sobs, the theatrical kind, the kind that travels. "I don't understand why you do this to me," she says loudly, to no one and everyone. Someone shushes a kid. Someone laughs awkwardly. My cousin's fiancé, who I've met twice, stares at the floor like the tiles suddenly have fascinating patterns. I look over my aunt's shoulder, and there she is, in the middle of the hall, clutching a napkin to her face like she's in a soap opera. My dad is already half risen from his chair, jaw set, ready to step in and handle it, which means corner me near the toilets and speak to me like I'm an employee who's stolen from the till. My brother has his phone out, definitely filming or messaging the group chat. My sister's eyes are narrowed in that pleased way she gets when attention isn't on her, but it's still chaos she can use later. And the thing is, I'm not even leaving because I'm mad about something that happened in the last 5 minutes. I'm leaving because this entire room feels like a trap I've stepped into 1,000 times. The same script, the same guilt, the same expectation that my body is a ticket they own. I pull my arm back, slow and deliberate, and for the first time in my life, my voice comes out steady. "I'm going home." My aunt's smile drops. "You can't. The speeches haven't even started." "I don't care," I say. Her eyes flash. "You don't care? Listen to yourself." I look at her hand still hovering like she's deciding if she can grab me again. "My attendance isn't mandatory," I say, and the words sound almost strange in my mouth, like a language I've never spoken out loud. "And my absence," I swallow because my heart is doing this hard thumping thing, "is my answer." It was a Tuesday night a few weeks ago when my therapist asked me something so simple it made me feel stupid for not having an answer. We've been talking about my family, which is what we always ended up talking about, because no matter how many times I try to bring up my work stress or my sleep or my constant headaches, it all threaded back to them like my spine was tied to a rope they yanked whenever they felt bored. She said, "When was the last time you went to an event because you wanted to?" I laughed automatically. That reflex laugh. "I go to everything," I said, like that was an achievement. She didn't laugh with me. She just waited, and I sat there in that quiet room, staring at the little box of tissues on the table, and realized I couldn't remember. Weddings, christenings, birthdays, baby showers, graduations, funeral after funeral, surprise parties that were never actually a surprise, Sunday lunches that turned into forced family meetings, quick drop-ins that became 3-hour interrogations. And if I didn't go, it wasn't, "Oh, we missed you." It was punishment. It was phone calls. It was texts. It was people showing up at my place. It was, "After everything we've done for you," like I was a debt. My family loves each other in the way some families love, tightly, possessively, like a fist. They call it closeness. They brag about it. "We're not like other families," my mom would say. "We actually show up." But showing up in our family didn't mean you came because you were excited. It meant you came because you were afraid of what would happen if you didn't. I was the reliable one. The one who answered. The one who brought the extra chairs, the ice, the paper plates. The one who took photos and then got yelled at for never being in any photos. The one who watched everyone's kids so they could drink and gossip. The one who stayed late to clean up while everyone else drifted away with leftovers and foil. I became useful in a way that made me invisible. I didn't even notice it happening at first. In my 20s, it felt normal. Families do things. Families attend things. It's what you do. If you're a good daughter, a good sister, a good cousin, you show up. Then my life started getting smaller. I missed a weekend trip with friends because it fell on the same weekend as my cousin's engagement barbecue. I missed a work networking event because my aunt decided she was hosting an important family dinner and needed me to help in the kitchen. I missed a date because my dad called and said Mom was too upset to go to a relative's funeral alone. I missed my own birthday dinner because my sister forgot to tell me the family had decided to do something else that night, and I should just come along. I wish I could say there was one giant blow-up that opened my eyes. There wasn't. It was drip by drip, a constant sense that my calendar wasn't mine. The first time I tried to set a boundary, it was over something tiny, a baby shower for a cousin I barely speak to. I'd had a brutal week at work. My boss had dropped a project on me last minute, and I was exhausted in that hollow way where your whole body feels like it's made of damp laundry. I texted my mom, "I can't make it tomorrow. I'm really wiped. I'll send a gift." Within seconds, "You're always too tired for family." Then, "Your cousin will notice." Then, "After all the times we've shown up for you." My phone rang. Mom's name. I let it ring out. Then Dad. Then my aunt. Then my sister. "Why are you doing this?" Mom's crying. Crying. Always crying. My mom cried the way other people use punctuation. I ended up going. Of course I did. I wore a smile like it was a mask glued to my face. I carried a tray of cupcakes I'd bought on the way because I didn't have time to bake. I sat in a circle of women I didn't know well, listening to them talk about birth plans and baby names, and I felt like I was watching my own life from behind a window. After, my mom squeezed my hand and said, "Sweet as poison, see? That wasn't so hard." And something in me shrank. It got worse when I hit my 30s. Everyone around me started having kids, getting married, moving, building lives that required actual time. My family's events didn't slow down. They multiplied. And because my sister had 2 kids and my brother had a demanding job, I became the default extra adult. If someone needed airport pickup, it was me. If someone needed help moving, me. If someone needed a last-minute babysitter, me. If my mom wanted someone to go with her to see a distant relative in hospital, me. If my dad wanted help with paperwork because he refused to learn how email worked, me. And if I said no, it wasn't accepted as a normal answer. It was treated like an offense that needed to be corrected. There's a particular kind of anger that comes from being treated like a resource instead of a person. It builds quietly. It doesn't explode immediately. It sits in your ribs. The turning point, if I'm honest, started with one tiny sentence from a friend outside my family. My friend Lauren invited me to a small dinner for her birthday. Just 6 of us, nothing fancy. I said yes immediately. I was excited, genuinely excited, which felt rare. 2 days before, my mom texted, "Your cousin's fiance's parents are coming over Sunday. Family lunch. You have to be there." I replied, "I can't. I already have plans." "Mom, what plans?" "Me. Lauren's birthday dinner." "Mom, so you're choosing friends over family." It was so blunt, so childish, almost made me laugh. But then my sister piled on, "It's rude. It makes us look bad." My dad called and said, "Your mother does so much, and you can't even do this one thing." And I did something I'd never done before. I went to Lauren's dinner anyway. The guilt was physical. I felt sick. My hands were shaky while I wrapped her gift. I kept checking my phone like I was waiting for an emergency alert. When I arrived, I was tense, braced for punishment that wasn't coming. Lauren opened the door, hugged me, and said, "I'm so glad you came." Not, "You better be grateful." Not, "I'm crying." Just glad. Halfway through dinner, my phone buzzed on the table. Group chat. Then another buzz. Then another. I flipped it over. I tried to stay present, but I could feel the messages stacking like bricks. On the way home, I read them in a red light, and my stomach dropped. "Mom, everyone is asking where you are." "Aunt, this is selfish." "Sister, Mom is humiliated." "Brother, so you're too good for us now?" "Dad, call me." And then, the one that really got me from my mom, "If something happens to me, remember you chose this." Like my absence from a lunch could cause her death. Like she was holding her own mortality as a weapon. I got home, sat on my couch, and started crying. Not because I felt guilty exactly. It was more like my body finally letting out 10 years of tension. I cried until my face hurt, and then I sat there in the dark thinking, what kind of family talks like that? That's when I booked therapy. I told myself it was for stress. I told myself it was for work-life balance. I didn't say the word enmeshment or emotional manipulation out loud because it felt dramatic, and my family had trained me to flinch at anything that sounded like an accusation. Therapy didn't make me suddenly brave. It made me suddenly aware. My therapist would ask questions, and I'd answer automatically, and then I'd hear my own words and feel sick. So what happens if you don't attend? They get upset. Upset how? They call. They guilt me. They tell everyone. And what happens if you attend? I am exhausted. I feel resentful. I lose my weekend. So either way, you suffer. Yeah. And then she said something that made my chest tighten. So what's the incentive to keep suffering in their preferred way? I didn't have an answer. We worked on small boundaries first. Not dramatic cutoffs. Not grand speeches. Just simple sentences. I can't make it. I'm not available. No. My therapist made me practice saying no without explaining. That was the hardest part. My family loved explanations because explanations were openings. If I said, I can't, I have plans, they'd interrogate the plans. If I said, I can't, I'm tired, they'd argue with my tiredness. If I said, I can't, I'm sick, they'd decide whether my sickness was valid. But no with no explanation, that's where they lost their mind. I tried it with my brother first. He texted, can you take the kids Saturday? We have a thing. I wrote, I can't. He replied instantly, why? And my fingers hovered over the screen, ready to type a reason, because that's what I'd always done. I could feel the anxiety rising, that desperate need to make him understand so he wouldn't be mad. Then I remembered my therapist's voice. You're not asking permission. You're stating a fact. So I wrote, I'm not available. My brother sent a long message about how family helps family, how he'd do it for me, how I was becoming cold. My sister jumped in with unbelievable. I didn't reply. I stared at the phone like it was a wild animal. I felt like I was going to throw up. And then nothing happened. The world didn't end. My mom didn't die. My family didn't collapse. My brother figured it out. He always figured it out. They just hated that I hadn't bent. That's when I realized their emergencies were often just inconveniences they trained me to absorb. The real escalation came when I started missing bigger events. Not funerals, not weddings. I'm not a monster. I'm not trying to punish people. But the endless stream of mandatory gatherings, I started opting out. A Sunday lunch here. A cousin's new boyfriend's welcome dinner there. An aunt's birthday that somehow required me to arrive early to set up and stay late to clean. A family meeting that turned out to be an hour of everyone criticizing my life choices and then asking me to help my dad with his tax stuff. Every time I didn't go, the blowback got worse. They began treating my absence like a public betrayal. They'd call me during events and put me on speakerphone so everyone could hear me refusing. They'd send me photos of the table with an empty chair. My sister started telling people I was going through something. My brother started making jokes about how I hate the family now. My mom got creative. She'd text, your grandmother asked about you. Or, Aunt Dina was so disappointed. Or, people notice when you're not there. Always people. Always the invisible jury. I tried multiple times to have calm conversations. I went to my parents' house one evening, sat at the kitchen table like I was 12 again, and said, I need you to stop demanding I attend everything. My mom stared at me like I'd spoken gibberish. We're not demanding, she said. We're inviting. I said, an invitation allows a no. My dad snorted. This is what therapy does, he muttered, like therapy was a cult. My mom's eyes filled immediately. So you don't want to be part of this family, she said, voice wobbling. Just say it. I try to stay calm. That's not what I'm saying. She slammed her hand on the table. Then why are you doing this to me? There it was. Me doing it to her. Not me having a life. Not me protecting my time. Me attacking her by not showing up. I left that night shaking. And still, even after all that, I didn't plan to make a statement at a community hall engagement party. I didn't go there thinking, tonight is the night I'll finally break free. I went because my mom said it would mean a lot, and I thought maybe I could do this one, just this one, and leave early. I got there on time. I smiled. I hugged relatives I barely knew. I helped carry trays from someone's car, because of course I did. I took photos. I corrected a crooked banner. I made myself useful like I always did, because being useful was the only way I knew how to exist in that space without being criticized. Then, 20 minutes in, my mom pulled me aside and whispered, "You're staying to help clean, right?" I blinked. I wasn't planning to. Her face tightened. "Of course you are. Your sister has the kids." "I have work tomorrow," I said. "So do we," she snapped, like we were in a competition. I felt that old familiar pressure in my chest. The squeeze. The trap. Then my sister approached, already irritated, and said, "You better not leave. I've already told them you're helping with the speeches." "What?" I said. "No one asked me." She shrugged like it didn't matter. "Well, now you know." And something in me went very still. Because it wasn't just attendance anymore. It was ownership. They were assigning me roles in their little production without even checking if I wanted to be in the play. I walked to the side of the hall, put my jacket on, and headed for the exit. Quiet. No drama. I thought I could slip out like a ghost. I made it 3 steps before my aunt grabbed my arm. Which brings me back to the doorway. My mom crying in the middle of the hall, my dad ready to storm over, my brother filming, my sister watching like this is entertainment. My aunt's voice is low and furious now. "You don't just leave. What is wrong with you?" I look at her, and I'm surprised by how calm I feel, like my body has finally hit a limit and decided to conserve energy. "I'm going," I say again. "You're going to ruin this," she says. I glance around the room. People are watching, pretending not to. Someone's whispering. Someone's kid is dragging a balloon like a dead fish. "I'm not ruining anything," I say. "You're making a scene because you can't control me." My aunt's face goes red. "Control you? We love you." "Love doesn't feel like this," I say, and my voice cracks on the last word, which annoys me, but I keep going anyway. "Love doesn't feel like being punished for having a life." My dad steps closer, his voice sharp. "Stop talking like that. You're acting crazy." That word hits me like a slap, because I've heard it before. Anytime I pushed back, anytime I was upset, anytime I tried to name what was happening, they'd label it dramatic, sensitive, crazy. I take a slow breath. "I'm not crazy," I say. "I'm done." My mom wails louder. "So you're just abandoning us," she cries. My sister crosses her arms. "There it is," she mutters, like she's been waiting for this. My brother raises his phone higher. "Say it again," he says, half under his breath, like he's collecting evidence. I suddenly understand something with perfect clarity. This isn't a family moment to them. It's content. It's leverage. It's a story they'll tell later where they're the victims and I'm the villain. I turn back to the door and put my hand on the handle. My aunt lunges like she's going to grab me again, but I step back just enough that she misses. I'm shaking now, adrenaline hitting late, but I keep my voice level. "I love you," I say to my mom, and I mean in the complicated way you can love someone who hurts you. But I'm not showing up to be controlled. I'm not showing up to be assigned tasks and blamed and guilt. If you want me in your life, you have to treat me like a person. My dad scoffs. "Don't threaten us." "It's not a threat," I say. "It's a boundary." He laughs, harsh. "Boundaries? Everyone has boundaries now. Suddenly you're a psychologist." I nod once, because I'm not doing this debate. I'm going home. Then I open the door and walk out. The cold air hits my face like a reset. My legs feel wobbly, like I've just gotten off a boat. I hear the door swing shut behind me, and for a second there's muffled shouting, and then quiet. Just the distant sound of music from inside and my own breathing. I stand in the parking lot under a flickering light, and my hands are shaking so badly I drop my keys. They clatter onto the asphalt. I crouch to pick them up, and I start laughing, softly because it's either laugh or collapse. By the time I get to my car, my phone is buzzing like an angry insect. Mom calling, dad calling, sister texting, brother texting, aunt texting. I don't answer. Driving home feels surreal. My shoulders are tight. My jaw aches from clenching. At a red light, I glance at my phone and see the group chat exploding. Mom, after everything, you walked out. Sister, you're selfish. Brother, you're dead to me if you keep disrespecting Mom. Aunt, you humiliated the whole family. Dad, come back. Now. I put the phone face down in the passenger seat and keep driving. When I get home, I don't feel triumphant. I feel hollow. I take my shoes off and stand in my hallway like I'm waiting for someone to burst through the door and drag me back. My body is still braced for punishment. The next day at work, my hands are still shaky. I keep checking my email like there's going to be some message from my family's council of elders demanding a meeting. I keep imagining my dad showing up in the lobby. I keep imagining my mom calling my boss to say she's worried about me. The anxiety is ridiculous and also completely logical because they have done versions of that before. Not because they're evil masterminds, but because they genuinely believe they have the right. Around lunchtime, my phone buzzes again. A text from my mom. We need to talk. You owe us an apology. I stare at it for a long time. Omi would have typed a paragraph immediately. Omi would have explained, softened, soothed. Omi would have apologized just to stop the discomfort because silence with them felt like being held underwater. Instead, I put my phone down and eat my lunch. Later that night, my dad calls from an unknown number. I answer without thinking, and his voice hits my ear like a slap. What the hell is wrong with you? He demands. Do you have any idea what you did? I take a breath. I left. I say, you made your mother cry. He snaps. I didn't make her cry. I say, and I can hear my own voice trying to stay calm. She chose to cry because she didn't get her way. He goes quiet for a second, like he can't compute that sentence. Then he gets angrier. Don't talk about your mother like that. I feel my hands curl into fists. Don't talk about me like I'm property. He scoffs. Property? You're being ridiculous. I close my eyes. Dad, I say, I'm not coming to everything anymore. If you invite me and I can make it, I'll come. If I can, I won't. And if you punish me for that, then you won't see me much. He explodes. So now you're threatening to cut us off? I'm telling you how it's going to be, I say. He hangs up on me. For the next week, the silence is loud. My mom doesn't message. My sister posts vague quotes online about toxic people. My brother unfollows me, then refollows, then unfollows again like a teenager. My aunt calls my cousin, who calls me to say, Mom says you're going through something. Are you okay? Like I'm the one who needs supervision. And I am okay. I am shaken. Iamsat. I'm grieving the fantasy that if I just showed up enough, I'd be loved gently. But I'm okay. 2 weeks later, there's another event. There's always another event. This time it's a cousin's birthday dinner. The invitation comes through my sister, not as a question, but as an order, be there at 6. Mom expects you. I don't respond. The day of, my mom texts. Are you coming? I type, no, then I delete it. Then I type, I can't. Then I delete it too. Then I type the simplest thing my therapist taught me. I won't be there. My mom replies instantly, why? My fingers hover. I feel the old panic rise. Then I put the phone down and go for a walk. That evening, I cook myself dinner. Just me. I put on music. I eat at my own table without anyone watching me like they're waiting to criticize my posture. I feel guilty for about 10 minutes, and then I feel something else underneath it. Relief. Real relief. The kind that loosens your shoulders. When the phone rings during my meal, I let it ring out. When it rings again, I let it ring out again. I take a bite of food and realize I'm chewing slowly, not rushing like I'm about to be called for duty. The next morning, I wake up to messages. Mom, you hurt me. Sister, you're tearing this family apart. Brother, Grandma asked where you were. Grandma, always Grandma. They liked using her because she was old and sweet, and everyone felt guilty about her. The thing is, Grandma never guilt me. Grandma would say, I missed you. And then she'd ask if I'd eaten. She didn't demand. She didn't punish. She didn't make me responsible for her emotions. So I did something new. I called Grandma directly. She answered on the third ring. Hello, darling. My throat tightened. Grandma. She sounded genuinely happy. How are you? I haven't seen you in ages. I know, I said softly. I've been taking some space. There was a pause. Not an angry one. A thoughtful one. Your mother is very upset, she said gently. I know, I whispered. Grandma sighed. Your mother likes things a certain way. I almost laughed because that was the understatement of the century. Yeah. And you, Grandma continued, have always tried to keep the peace. My eyes stung. Yeah. She didn't tell me to apologize. She didn't tell me to come to the next thing. She just said, have you been sleeping? That question, simple, caring, made something in me unclench. I'm sleeping better, I admitted. Grandma hummed. Then keep doing what helps you sleep. I sat on my couch with tears running down my face and realized the people who truly love you don't demand you perform for them. Since then, my family has tried every tactic. They've tried anger. You're selfish. They've tried pity. Your mother is depressed. They've tried embarrassment. People think you're rude. They've tried bargaining. Just come to the big ones. They've tried guilt. What if someone dies? They've tried rewriting history. We never demanded anything. And I've kept my boundary boring. Boring boundaries are harder to fight. No long explanations. No dramatic speeches. No debates. Sometimes I go. When I genuinely want to. When I have the capacity. When it feels safe. Sometimes I don't. And I don't apologize for it. The weirdest part is watching how they react when they realize they can't force me. My sister has started hosting fewer mandatory lunches because without me they're doing the work. She actually has to do it. My brother has magically figured out childcare solutions. My dad has learned to email because I'm not coming over to print things for him. My mom still plays the victim sometimes. She'll sigh loudly on the phone and say, we just don't see you anymore. And I'll say, calmly, we can plan a coffee, just us. Sometimes she says yes. Sometimes she doesn't because the point was never actually seeing me. The point was seeing me comply. I won't pretend it's all clean and empowering. Some nights, I still feel like the worst daughter alive. Sometimes I get invited to something and my stomach drops automatically. Sometimes I miss the version of us that existed in my head, the family I kept trying to earn. But here's what's true. My life is bigger now. My weekends aren't a series of obligations. I see friends. I rest. I read. I go to things I enjoy without checking if my attendance will cause a meltdown elsewhere. I say yes because I mean yes. I say no because I mean no. My body is slowly learning that no one is going to drag me back into a hall and pin me down with guilt like a name tag. And the line I said at that engagement party, the one that felt like stepping off a cliff, has become the simplest truth I have. My attendance isn't mandatory, and my absence is my final answer.